Hi, I'm Garth Blackburn. I'm the chef with Sub-Zero Wolf. I'm here in the Burdick Inspiration Home to show you guys the incredible kitchen that we have. When most people see a griddle, they're thinking breakfast restaurant, maybe Denny's. They're thinking pancakes, French toast, bacon. For lunchtime, it might be quesadillas or grilled cheese sandwiches. Instead, I'm thinking of a restaurant, maybe that you've got some shrimp on here. We're doing a little musical number with our tongs and our spatula, and we're cooking Japanese style on a teppanyaki. So from things like lobster to chicken to steak to any sort of seafood, vegetables, fried rice, all on the griddle. And the reason why, it's a large, even cooking area. It's incredibly easy to clean, and I can cook more food more consistently than on any pot and pan. So with that in mind, what we're gonna do first is my unfried chicken fried steak on a stick. We're just gonna use a little bit of olive oil, and we can use extra virgin on that because we're ready to go with some of our food. You just don't wanna let olive oil sit on the griddle for more than 2 to 3 minutes while it's hot. This is an incredibly easy southern favorite, crusted with cornflakes actually. What I did was I took prime filet mignon, the portion we did not use for steaks, we cut into slivers, crusted it, and now we're gonna griddle it. We're just going for a crust on the outside, unlike your mom's chicken fried steak that has to be served well done because of the quality of the meat. With filet mignon, of course, we can serve it medium rare. So quick sear on both sides. We're ready to put it onto a plate and then serve it with an herb chimichurri out of one of our Sub-Zero refrigerators here at the Burdick home. Our chicken fried steak, unfried on a stick, is now ready to go. None of it's sticking to the griddle, which is why it's so easy to cook on. And unlike a non-stick surface where you need to worry about heating it up without food in it, because it can be toxic under heat, with this we could actually leave it on all day. We'll just get a dough cutter or a scraper, wipe off any excess, some paper towels, just with tap water, and now we'll just wipe it. Okay, and that's all the cleaning that's necessary for the griddle. Now tomorrow when I go to make my French toast or my pancakes, I'm not gonna get chicken fried steak flavored pancakes. That steaming's gonna remove any odors or bacteria or food aroma that might normally remain, say, in a cast iron skillet. So while this looks seasoned, in truth, it's not carrying over any flavor or any food residue. When most people think of a steamer, they think of steamed vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus. I'm thinking more slow cooker, double boiler, or a seafood cooker. And in fact, what we're doing today is a warm seafood bruschetta, tomatoes and garlic and onion, the classic mixture. But then we've got some Gulf shrimp, some jumbo sea scallops, and some jumbo lump crab. And on the top, I've got it staying warm. Underneath, I'm cooking some of that shrimp that we've diced up, or we could serve whole if we were gonna do this as the entree. The top portion that's already cooked, we're keeping warm. And then if we were to serve this maybe as a buffet style, all I'll do is lower the heat to 140 degrees. And with Wolf, the precision is what matters. So at 140 degrees, my seafood's not going to overcook. I could keep it in here for 1 to 2 hours, serve a meal, and never have anything get chewy for the seafood or meat get dried out. So it's an excellent opportunity to use for all sorts of different foods, from seafood to anything you'd use a slow cooker for, like pot roast or osso buco, as well as things like rice that I could cook at 8 o'clock in the morning, leave it in there hot and flaky the entire day, and serve it at 7:30 or 8 that night. None of it stuck to the bottom, all of it perfectly cooked. It's an excellent opportunity for people that don't have a white chef coat to come in the kitchen, put their food in, set the timer, walk away, and know that they're gonna have perfection every time. This is going to be a sauce for our dessert. We're doing a peanut butter and triple chocolate bread pudding in the Wolf oven. This will be kind of a rum Bailey sauce that we're going to put on the top. So as the butter's starting to melt, I'm actually going to put in some Texas honey. The reason to use Texas honey, especially within 100 to 200 miles of the city in San Antonio area, is that the bees harvest locally. They're taking local pollen, and it's going to actually boost your immunity to local allergens. So if you're prone to the classic sneezing attacks here in the early spring time period, this is going to actually make the implications of so many local allergens much less severe for people that are prone to allergy attacks. So we're going to cook this down, allow the butter to melt. I've got it offset on the heat a little bit because here in just a second we're going to add some spiced rum. And by putting it to the side, I'm going to heat up the edge of the pan, which will allow me to flambe it. Add a little fire, a little fun to the mix. If you prefer to keep the fire in the fireplace, by all means leave the pan square on the heat. Pour the alcohol on off of the flame. Do not tip the pan, and you'll get the same results without all the fanfare. So I'm going to keep the heat there on high. It's a dual ring burner, so I've got flame coming from both the outside as well as the inside. And once I start to see a significant amount of bubbles here in the butter and the Texas honey on the edge, then we're going to add some spiced rum. And if you want a little more sparkle to it, that cinnamon, Saigon cinnamon, to add a little extra kick. So now we're just going to cook that down, and instead of using heavy whipping cream, we can add more flavor with a little bit of Bailey's. So we're just going to cook that till it's thick. Serve that with our chocolate triple peanut butter bread pudding, thick bubbles. We'll either turn it off, or if we're not ready to eat right now, we'll just turn it to simmer on any of the Wolf burners, which are capable of simmering at a very low heat, 475 BTU, so we can keep a sauce like this nice and warm, ready to be eaten without having any of it burn to the bottom of the pan. Now I'll jokingly call our fryer our oil steamer because nowadays it seems so politically incorrect to talk about deep fat fried food. At the same point in time, if you're eating in moderation, of course, and actually if you're not battering the item, such as like a thick cut tortilla, corn tortilla to make chips with, freshly fried corn tortilla chips are much better than you can buy in any bag. The amount of grease that's absorbed is minimal compared to something like fried chicken, that the batter is going to absorb a lot of oil. So from chips to plantains to any sort of root vegetable like sweet potatoes, they'll turn out excellent without a whole lot of grease, but much better flavor than you'd be able to buy from the grocery store, or maybe that bag of chips doesn't expire until the year 2013. So for freshness as well, we're just going to dump some of our tortillas in there, stir them up to make sure that they don't stick. The great thing about an in-counter fryer like this Wolf fryer, first I'm able to set an accurate temperature within 5 degrees. So I could set it at 345 or maybe 375 or 360, something in between. But particularly important is the fact that it's a deep basin. So as it's frying, you're not going to see oil splattering. So we don't have the mess to clean up that we would get either in a pan with oil or in a countertop like a Fry Daddy where oil is going to go all over the place. And that's also incredibly important for safety reasons, because even when we put fairly moist food in, it will never boil over and potentially catch on fire like you would have with oil that's in a pan or that's in a Fry Daddy. So we'll just toss it around occasionally. The other thing that's going to be better than a countertop fryer or than a pan is that we have more oil in that basin, which will allow the food to sear rather than get soggy. The reason that fried food tastes greasy is when you put too much cold food into hot oil. As a result, it will actually absorb more of the oil. The food doesn't taste as good, and it's much worse for you. So a large amount of oil with a small amount of food, as you'll be able to get on the Wolf fryer, means that we're going to get crispy food that does not turn out greasy. So these chips are getting golden. We're going to pull them out, allow any grease to drain off. It also comes with a fryer basket if you prefer to hold it over the fryer while you let it drain if you're finishing off the rest of dinner. Now, while there's still a little bit of oil, we want to add our salt and our pepper. And the residual heat will actually be enough to melt our French brie cheese. And then to do a little something different, just took some raspberry jam with a little bit of Thai chili paste. Drizzle that over the top. Toss it with some Texas pecans. And then a little bit of cilantro. Not an incredible amount of fat. Most of the fat that we're getting is fairly healthy. More importantly, in moderation, we get a great, delicious, and easy to cook appetizer. Or as an entree, I could top it with a little bit of grilled chicken from our Wolf Outdoor Grill and have a dinner ready in less than 10 minutes.